Let's take a trip around the curve. Writers and studios could hold more talks over the next 2 weeks, but strike authorization is still expected. J.K. Rowling's production company, Bronte Film and TV, has posted a 74% drop in profits after performances of Harry Potter and The Cursed Child. Hollywood's COVID protocols and vaccination mandate will expire on May 12th. Amazon Studio wins the pickup package in a 7-figure deal with Eddie Murphy starring and Tim Story directing. Looks like everyone's favorite wisecracking superhero, Deadpool, is being joined in the MCU by some old friends, as told by Deadline, that Karan Soni, Leslie Uggams, and Succession star Matthew McFadden are joining the franchise. Ving Rhames, Alfred Molina, and Ron Perlman joined Apple TV's The Instigators. Universal digs in on the revamp of the Mole Project, and Wes Anderson's star-studded comedy Asteroid City is on its way to the Cannes Film Festival. On its way to Cannes, the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Zendaya is set to receive the CinemaCon Star of the Year award, and Peter Pan and Wendy streams exclusively on Disney Plus beginning on April 28th. Gonzalez and Aaron Paul are set to star in the Flying Lotus's sci-fi Ash. Sundance Prize winner The Pod Generation, starring Emilia Clarke and Chiwetel Ejiofor, is set for release by Roadside Pictures and Vertical. Stephen Curry's unanimous teams with Sports Illustrated and 101 Studios on film, and docu about rise, fall, and sports memorabilia heist of the All-Star Cafe. Téa Leoni signs with Gersh as Madam Secretary Star plots acting return, and Liv Tyler returns as Betty Ross in Marvel's Captain America New World Order. Alec Baldwin Rust case DA suffers another loss as judge acts as special prosecutor co-counsel. Questlove is set to direct live-action hybrid adaptation of The Aristocrats for Disney. Jessica Chastain is set to star in the limited series The Savant for Apple TV+. And Andy Fickman is set to helm an adaptation of Maggie Stiefvater's young adult fantasy bestseller Shiver. George Clooney and Grant Heslow's Smokehouse Pictures is coming home to Warner Brothers in the film deal with co-heads Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi. Samuel L. Jackson and Vincent Cassell are set to lead the action thriller Damage, filming underway in Scotland right now. Lawrence Fishburne is developing a new solo play like they do in the movies with a summer workshop, and Hollywood is making diversity progress on streaming, but not theatrically, according to the latest UCLA study. A Snowfall spinoff is in the works in early development at FX, and Gail Bean is rumored to star in that iteration. Next up on the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata, we've got Jeremy Gold and J. Furrow Taylor Park, and the director Neil Bogart from Spinning Gold. We've got Teyana Taylor, Josiah Cross, and A.V. Rockwell from 1001, and the entire cast of Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies, on the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. Stay tuned.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love, peace, and hair grease.
Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Yeah, you know, wishing straight from the hip.
This is Carla Renata, a.k.a. the Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know, I'm wishing straight from the hip.
Okay, I've checked everything and we're back to normal. Oh my God, I had some feedback. I don't know where that was coming from. It was a hot mess. But Insti-hoo, I'm back. So, having said that, I introduced myself. I said what I was talking about. I'll say it again. We have the cast of Spinning Gold, we have the cast of 1001, and we have the cast of Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies. I usually talk about what I did before. I will recap that since you had all kind of feedback and craziness happening before. So last week I talked about going to the NABJLA Media Summit, and I sat on a panel that was curated by Angelique Jackson, and Gia Summers and Ariana Drummond and myself were on that panel. And then I Friday watched General Hospital pay a huge tribute to my friend Sonia Eddy. I've talked about her several times on this podcast. She was a dear friend of mine. She unexpectedly passed away in December 2022 due to some surgical complications. But General Hospital and ABC did a wonderful memorial to her, and there's a screenshot from that. I will miss her dearly. Then I went over to another friend of mine, Lilius White. She did a cabaret where Seth Rudetsky played the piano for her and everything. And I ran into Kim Hawthorne, who was my roommate in the Life, the show that Kim, Lilius, and I did together. And you might remember her face. She is from Greenleaf, but we were dressing roommates when we did the Life. And then what happened was Tyne Daly hopped up in my face and was telling me how fabulous I was because, and I'm gonna come back on camera for this because this is bananas. So while we were visiting Lilius and saying hello to Lilius, she did a musical tribute of her life on Broadway on the stage, and she did it in order of the shows she did, right? So when she got to Dreamgirls, she's like, I think we got some Dreamgirls in the house. And she calls me Darla because she says my eyes are so big that it reminds her of Darla from the Little Rascals. So, and if you don't know what the Little Rascals are, Google it. But anyway, she called me on stage and another friend of ours, Connie Jackson, and we did the fight scene from Dreamgirls. If you don't know what that is, Google that too. But we did the fight scene from Dreamgirls. Connie was Laurel, I was Dina, and of course, Lilius did Effie. And baby, it was hilarious. But Tyne Daly came up to me and was all excited about the what we did, and she said that I sounded fabulous, and I was super super excited. So there's that. And then uh, that was pretty much my week, except for doing these junkets and things. But I want to show you some of Brandon's pictures because he always sends me nice pictures. So here's a drawing that he did, and he's in animation school right now, and he's super, super excited about it. There's one drawing, and there's his other drawing. I love when he sends me stuff. I think these might be some drawings from Trolls, but I love them, love them, love them. Thank you, Brandon. And speaking of Brandon, he always pops in and says hello to me too. And this week he said that he is going to go see Mario on Wednesday in IMAX, and I will be seeing Mario as well. So thank you, Brandon, for always tuning in. Thank you for always supporting me, and thank you for just being that dude. Okay, so I wanted to tell you guys that I have several interviews, as I mentioned earlier. I have the cast of 1001. I have the cast of Spinning Gold, and I have the cast of Grease: Rise of the Pink Ladies. So let's start with a review, shall we? So I saw this documentary back at Sundance called Pretty Baby. It's about Brooke Shields, her take on her career and how Pretty Baby was received when it came out. It was a film that was out in, I want to say, the early 70s. And when it hit, Brooke Shields was a child model. And so the big deal, it was a film, Susan Sarandon was in this film, and I think Keith Carradine might have been in the film too. But there was all this drama about this film because she played a child prostitute, and it was a French film, and so they went to Cannes and they won all these awards at Cannes. But then when the film was released in the United States, there was all this drama. So this documentary picks up with her career as a child model, goes all the way through the whole Pretty Baby drama, goes through all the drama she had with Suddenly Susan, talks about how she made that transition from being a model to being an actress, how she found her footing in comedy with this scene that she did in Friends, this iconic scene that she did in Friends, and where she is now. And there's a really lovely scene in the film where she talks to her daughters about her roles in Blue Lagoon and Pretty Baby and gets their opinion about it. And they have a pretty candid discussion about it. So if you want to check it out, it's going to be on Hulu on April 3rd. It will be on Hulu on April 3rd. And again, it is called Pretty Baby. All right. So having said that, I also want to say this before I get into Casablanca. So I did do interviews with um, Jeremy Jordan and Jay Farrell and Taylor, but I don't have the interview with Taylor. I wasn't able to edit that one, but I will have it up on my YouTube channel after this finishes airing, and I cut this up a little bit so that you don't hear all that feedback that you heard in the beginning. But I wanted to tell you this. I was fascinated by Spinning Gold because uh, Neil Bogart, who was the mastermind behind Casablanca Records, he had Kiss. He had George Clinton and the Funkadelic. He had Gladys Knight. He had Bill Withers. He had all these people. And the film tells this iconic, all the behind the scenes iconic stories of how these groups became popular, how they ended up on Casablanca, and how amazingly gifted and genius Neil Bogart was with marketing. The same kind of record and CD and marketing that we see done right now. He was a genius at it. He is no longer with us. But what I found fascinating is this. Back in the day, I worked as a publicist, and my boss had a company called Orchid Communications, but I worked for her, and I remember her telling me this. She worked at Casablanca Records as the publicist. That is her pictured in that photograph with George Clinton, which ironically bears a huge resemblance to Wiz Khalifa, who plays him in the film. So I just wanted to put that out there and share that tidbit of info. Um, yeah, I wanted to tell you that. So having said that, I did do some interviews with Jay and Taylor and Tim Bogart, the director, and Jeremy Jordan, the star of the film. I'll get to those in a little bit, but I want to start out with Rise of the Pink Ladies because, baby, Rise of the Pink Ladies is a prequel to the Grease franchise. So it's before the first Grease even happened. It shows you how everybody got to be who they eventually become in the Grease franchise. And it was pure comedy. But I want you to take a look, and I interviewed the entire cast and the choreographer and the director. But I want you to take a look and a listen to this interview that I did with Jason Schmidt and Madison. And let me see, who is it? It's Jason, Madison, and give me a second. Because everybody's names got cut off. It was Jason. Hold on, it's going to show in a minute. Jason Madison and Chanel Bailey. We had a nice little combo, and I want you guys to take a look and listen to this, and then I'll get on with the rest of them. Okay, here we go. And Chanel, let me just tell you, as a Howard University And Chanel, let me just tell you, as a Howard University Bison, it was not lost on me that Howard University banner in your bedroom. I was like, well, okay, for the HU, I was very excited. I was very excited about that. So I find that all of your characters are sending mixed signals. You guys have a mixed signal situation going on, every last single one of you. So I wanted to know what your thoughts were about that in regards to people like you having fun in high school, but also trying to survive at the same time. So I'll start with my girl Chanel first.
Oh, thank you. I think that that's exactly what the high school experience has been for each generation of people. This idea of how do we not just survive, but thrive is like a constant struggle and a constant fight that we all like take on in whatever different ways. And I love that Grease does a really amazing job of showing each person's battle to fight for like I just said, to fight for the chance to thrive in high school instead of just surviving. And so I think in the show, it's about like stepping into a world, like for Hazel specifically, that's not built for her, whether it's the time period or the social constructs of like the food chain in Rydell. And then for someone like Susan, who's at the top of the food chain, still being like, I'm thriving, but not really because I don't have, the voice that I wish, like just everyone has their own struggles. And so I think it's really cool that we get to see everyone figure out how to not just get through high school, but to like really make the most of it, which is I think what we're all trying to do with our lives every day, not just get through, but like make something out of it.
When I describe this show as like nothing is what meets the eye, obviously this is a Grease prequel, and so everyone has expectations of, is it going to be like Grease? How is it going to be different? How is it going to reimagine this material and find new things? And every single character has this nuance that I think on paper, or when you first meet them, you think that they're a stereotype. They're the jock, they're the nerd, they're the popular girl. But when you dive in deeper to these characters, they're so layered. And that's representative of what the high school experience is really like. Everyone likes to put on a certain face or a personality in order to like survive and get by. But there's a lot more nuance when you peel back the pages and explore these characters. And it was such an incredible experience to get to play young characters that were so nuanced and were, dealing with the escalating moral panic of the 50s, different dynamics at home and how they presented at school versus their home life.
Okay, Jason, I'm going to ask you something a little different in this last minute. Yeah. Buddy's supposed to be a good guy, but is he really?
I think Buddy has a beautiful heart, and I think that's the most important thing. I think he has a lot of lessons to learn, and I think is a little bit of a victim of what his dad wants from him and what the time period of the 50s wants from him. So I do think he's a good guy. Yes. And I think he'll learn the lessons that'll get him there along the way as well.
Fair enough. I'll let you off the hook with that one.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I enjoyed it. It kept the spirit of Grease that I love. It's a beloved franchise of mine, hence the pink everywhere.
I love it.
But thank you guys so much. And I'm looking forward to it dropping and everybody else having fun right along with me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye. So I want to talk a little bit about the representation in Grease because in the past, Grease has had no representation other than Cha-Cha, who went to St. Bernadette's. And Maxwell and Nicholas and I talk about that. So I want to play that one for you right now. Here's Nicholas McFadden and Maxwell Whittington from Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies. Hi.
Hi, Carla. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How y'all doing?
Doing
Good.
well.
Having a good morning.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it. I really enjoyed this iteration spin on the Grease franchise, and I enjoyed you guys in it, mostly because I feel like both of your characters kind of wear their hearts on their sleeve. And I just wanted to talk to you about that, about how vulnerable does that make a guy when they're, putting their heart out there, not knowing if it's going to be reciprocated.
Yeah, great question. I think it's scary as a guy. I think it's scary as anyone, honestly, to put your heart on the line and to kind of be vulnerable and to put yourself out there for someone. But I think at the end of the day, it's worth the risk because if you didn't do it, you wouldn't get that love back, And I think Gil and Wally understand that, and that's why they kind of put their hearts on the line because they're like, without the risk, there's no reward.
I know, but Wally's a little bit more overt about it. Gil kind of laying in the cut. So talk to me about that.
Facts, that is
Gil,
true. Wally
kind of laying in the cut and not really being out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, just wait and see because Gil goes on quite a journey. And I think that Gil struggles with the idea, which I think is a big theme throughout the show, of like being what we should be or what it feels like we need to be for the rest of the world as opposed to who we really are. And like Gil is cool and suave and kind of a bad boy-ish, but he's also a goofy idiot, and he's sweet. So like he doesn't always feel comfortable to let that side out. But I think we do see like a certain lady bring that side out, and I think you'll see it more as the season progresses. And that's an exciting thing with TV, that we have more time to show that journey than you would in a movie format, and more time to explore all the different characters and all the journeys they go on. So we're excited for the season.
Cool. I like that. That was a good answer. Okay. All right, Nicholas. I see you. There's somebody, I forget which character says this, but somebody says, people like you have fun in high school. People like me survive. How do you make that statement applicable to Gil and Wally? And
I think Gil, every character has their burden to bear. Gil is struggling with poverty. His father is not in the picture, and he's the one like who leaves school and goes straight to work, and it's just like has adulthood thrust on him like far too early. He's raising his siblings and helping his mom like run the business, and so when he sees, I think that's why he resents the Socs so much, because he sees some people who don't have to do that and get to enjoy life a little bit more, and he just wishes that he could do that, and that he could have that freedom, like what he feels like while I'm looking for a job and slinging drinks and whatnot, like these people are looking in the mirror and buying fancy clothes, and he's just jealous, and it's a burden to bear. Yeah,
absolutely.
You know what, Maxwell, I want you to speak real quick about the diversity in this particular project, because in every iteration of Grease that I've seen, the only diversity they ever had was a chick that went to St. Bernadette's.
Facts, I know.
Dancer, you know what I mean? Can you just talk about that for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the diversity in this iteration of Grease was one of the main attractions for me as an actor, and even as a Grease fan, because like you said, we don't really see ourselves in the original Grease films, so it was really special to be a part of that. And I think for my character Wally, he is one of the only black students at Rydell, And that really resonated with me because growing up, I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood and went to predominantly white schools. And I know that pressure of, needing to be twice as smart, twice as good, twice as fast, just to get half of what everyone else around you has. And throughout the season, you start to see that in Wally. And I was really excited to be a part of that because I think it'll allow Black kids everywhere just to see they're not alone in that experience, that they're seen and that their experiences are valid. So I'm excited for that.
I love you for that. Thank you for that answer. And yes, Black people did not just show up in 1867. We were in we were in soda shops and stuff too. So thank you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So thank you both for your answers. I appreciate you. I love the show. It was really, really great. Your roles were wonderful in it. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it all shakes down. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. You have a good one.
You too. Bye. And I meant what I said about that representation. I get so tired of us being excluded from history. So speaking of representation, I want you to take a look and a listen to this interview with Ari and Trisha because they, don't tell nobody, but they were my favorites. And they actually, their characters are like the epitome of representation in this project. But I'll let them tell you about it.
Hi, nice to meet you. I appreciate all the pink behind you. No.
Yes, honey, I had to show up and show out.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did. So listen, I want to talk to you about, first of all, Ari, I need to know about this barbershop quartet. That's what I need to know about. I need to know about this barbershop quartet chorus called the Sirens of Gotham. That's what I need to know right now.
Oh, that's me. I'm like, what? I know, me too. I was like, you did barbershop? I'm like, how come we've never talked about this before?
My bad. I switched it up.
Let's look at, I would love to be confused for Ari. This one is I'm so just an icon, so honestly, thank you. If that ever happens again, I'll gladly take it. The Sirens of Gotham, yes, is a barbershop chorus based out of New York City, and I sang tenor for them, and it was a lovely time. We would meet once a week, and then we had our brother chorus, the Voices of Gotham, and we'd hang out afterwards, and we would sing tags all night, and I've been to barbershop competitions where we've danced, and actually, they totally tie into Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies, because the Sirens of Gotham were doing things to change barbershop, and we were really ruffling some feathers at these competitions. Like, legit, I was lying on the floor, or the whole front row was, and we were doing a developpe with our legs. And I had women come up to me afterwards. Yes, literally, yes, exactly that. And they would be like, wow, we saw that in your picture online, but we didn't think you were actually going to do that. Okay, interesting. Wow. And we're wearing our little black dresses, and that's not the vibe, or it's not what it used to be. But I feel like they are changing the face of barbershop, and I am proud of them. And we are changing the face of Rydell.
And that is why I brought it up, because I knew that y'all are changing the face of Rydell, which brings me to this. There's a quote where somebody says, sometimes you got to do a little bad to do good. And I feel like both of your characters live in that lane. Both of y'all gave me life. I just don't know what that means for both of you in the world of Rydell.
Yeah, well, you gotta make some waves, just like the Sirens were doing, where we were kicking our face and maybe wearing something that was considered scandalous, even though it really wasn't. The Pinks are doing that as well. They're staying true to themselves, and they're making sure that they're standing up for other people in a society that's just pushing them down. And so I think that's what they're doing. If it may be seen as bad, but it's not really bad. You gotta do it.
Come on, Ari, bring up the rear. Come on, Ari, bring up the rear.
Let's go. So yeah, I think, each of our characters are people who are characters in our show that for whatever reasons don't really fit in with what is expected of them from society or from the larger Rydell or, the adults in the show. And thankfully we get the chance to do our little schemes as the Pink Ladies and break a few rules for the greater good, which I think is a good message.
It's a great message. And I was really digging the fact that Cynthia was being Juliet. I'm like, yes, for the representation. Let's get it together. I was all about that.
Yeah.
I was all about that. I also want to talk about these mixed signals that both of your characters give.
Ooh, what do you mean by that?
Elaborate.
Elaborate. Cynthia's giving off these mixed signals about her feelings, or and then Nancy is giving off this vibe that she's tough, but she's not really.
Oh, no.
I think it's, we contain multitudes. I think that our characters are, what I love so much about, like, centering young people, and especially characters that are, like, are girls, like, there's so many times, like, the Bechdel test, like, are these, like, young girls, like, talking to each other? Are they complex? Do they have, like, their own stories? And thankfully, our show it's sort of like if you zoomed into the background of the original Grease and actually talked to people in the back, because they were there.
That's who we were.
That was, yes. I can't take credit for that. That was Chanel. Chanel said that. She's brilliant. Yeah, she's so smart. She'll probably say that, so you can use her in another interview for that. But yeah, like our characters are so complex, and I just feel so thankful that we got the chance to like fully flesh out those characters. And like, yeah, our characters might appear one thing but then feel another, and
that's high school.
That's being a person.
That's true. Yeah.
Listen, I was there for every last single part of it, and y'all were fabulous. Y'all were two of my favorites. Don't tell nobody. But anyway, I have to wrap. That is my time. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time today. I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you did for the franchise. I am all about it.
Oh, thank you so much. It was so good to meet you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, now I want you to hear from two of the ladies, Cheyenne Isabel Wells and Marissa Davia, who, for some reason, I think I know Marissa, and I don't know where I know her from, but we'll figure it out. But I want you to hear from them and listen to them talk about their characters too. Here we go.
Hi, Carla. I feel like I know you. I'm not going to.
I was watching you in this series, and I was like, I know her, and I don't know where I know you from. It's so funny that you said that. I don't know, girl. I don't know. I don't know. We're going to figure it out.
Okay, we'll figure it out together.
Maybe we knew each other in another life or something. I don't know.
But it's funny that we both realized that too.
It really is. It really is. That's saying something. And I want to talk about this Good Girls number. It was everything.
Do you love it? It's so fun.
This Good Girls number, and just working on the musical numbers in general, because I had a lot of fun watching y'all.
Yeah, I mean, Good Girl Act was our, like you said, the only one that we got to do all throughout. Like, the whole thing, no stopping, no moving to another room. So it was just so much fun to do that number. But I mean, every single number, all the fantasy sequences, those are so much fun.
Yeah. Just a blast. Well, I always remember the time where the very end we were shooting Good Girl Act, and like we said, we got to shoot it from front to back. Sometimes we have to move the camera, do a different segment. They did a big wide, and I look across the table. And Cheyenne, what did you say? You were like, it's the final.
Oh yeah, I said it's closing night.
It's closing night. This is treat it like closing night. Yeah. Let's do this.
Because our last time we're ever gonna do this.
And it got everybody hyped. Yeah.
I love that. How did you guys feel about working with Jamal? Because Jamal is a beast. He's worked with Encanto people. He's worked in the Step Up franchise, and now he's working with y'all in Grease.
It's like, how did we get him?
Yeah, I saw him on RuPaul, and I was like, oh, we got Jamal?
Yeah, Jamal.
And he is an absolute dream, and he's the sweetest person in the world. Yeah. Like, he is so helpful to every single person on our cast. If you're a dancer or not.
So approachable. Yeah. So, very patient person. And
the most patient. I'm like, how do you do it?
Because I would. Again, please.
Yeah.
You have to be patient to have that kind of job. I see you sitting in the drive-in. How did it feel for you guys to go back into a world where drive-in was a thing?
Wow. I love drive-ins. We have, where I grew up, we have one more still standing. Yeah, I think it might be there, but there's something nostalgic about even just going to one. And then trying to replicate the same Grease drive-in that existed was insane. And part of that, we just stepped into the world. The world was already created thanks to our set design and props. They killed it.
We have so many cars on set, and it's just even just sitting in a car like that, you're like, whoa.
You're like, where's the seatbelt?
Yeah, die, man.
That is hilarious. I went back to the drive-ins when the pandemic started, and I hadn't been in one since I was a kid. So that was really very interesting and a lot of fun. So I'm glad that you guys had an opportunity to experience that, because it can be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for COVID too, I guess it's pretty safe, huh?
Perfect. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it, y'all. I love me some Jane. I love me some Olivia. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this all kind of shakes out in the end.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're
You're like, oh, yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye. I love these kids. They were really great. The film, the TV series was really great. And I will show you this last interview, which is with Jamal Sims and Justin Tranter, who the young ladies just referred to. You may recognize Jamal Sims. He did the choreography for Encanto. He also did a lot of choreography for RuPaul's Drag Race, which he talks about. But I talked to Justin and Jamal about the choreography and the music aspects of this series. So take a look and a listen to Jamal and Justin.
Hey, Carla, come on, Curvy.
Hey, come on, all this pink.
Okay.
Come on, pink lady.
To come and represent, honey. How we do.
I see you.
You know how we do. But I wanted to commend both of you guys on how this was done and how it was directed and choreographed and all of that, because I feel like it kept the spirit of the Grease franchise alive and updated it in a way that wasn't disrespectful or trying to take it someplace crazy where you sitting there going, what the hell are they doing? So I appreciate you bringing it into the 21st century while still keeping the spirit of the franchise. Having said that, I want to talk about how challenging it was to choreograph it and do all of that and direct it and do all of that. So, and then I really want to talk about the music, because the music, I love how the first couple of episodes, I kept hearing Ruth Brown a lot. Oh. I heard Ruth Brown a lot. And then I started to hear some other artists. So let's start with the music and then we'll segue into the choreography. So Justin, talk to me about the song choices and how you guys went about deciding, okay, this would go good here, or maybe we should use this over here.
Yeah, it was, so first of all, yes, Ruth Brown, love. And it was about, always focusing on the original Grease was very much a current of that time, 1970s, a version of the 50s. So for me, making a 2023 nostalgic version of the 50s. So not being afraid to use modern elements while making sure there's always some roots in the 50s, so it has that nostalgia that we all love. And then in terms of the script, where songs would go, and I would write a song for this part or write a song for that part, it was either our showrunner Annabelle Oakes had already decided I want a song here, or she'd say to me, hey, read the script and let me know, like, in the back half where you think would be an amazing, emotionally they should sing there, whether it's a fun emotion or a vulnerable emotion. Like, let me know where you think the song would go. So it was really just based on the story or on what would be really, really fun. It's like, is it that emotion, or it's like, we gotta just see them sing about that. They gotta dance about that shit. Yeah.
So it's hilarious. And Jamal, the last time I talked to you, we were talking about Encanto. And so we were talking about all of that and you doing Step Up and Direct. I'm like, my man is killing it in the game right now. But when I spoke with some of the young ladies about you, they spoke highly of your patience and how you were so graciously like this with them, and then how they geeked out over you because you were associated with RuPaul Drag Race. So I just want to talk to you about what is that like to be able to know that you're going to have some people that choreography is going to be challenging for them and they're not going to retain it. And they may have to do it 5,000 times. So I would love for you to speak to that for a second, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, it's funny that you bring up RuPaul's Drag Race, because that is a show where we only have 5 minutes to teach drag queens routines, and you don't know their abilities all the time. So you kind of have to leave some things open in case they can't do it. And then sometimes so really for me with this one, it was, I didn't know the cast. So I just kind of had to hope and wish that we get a cast that can dance, that can act, that can sing, that can do triple threats. And that's what we got. And so with them, it was a little bit easy because I love the idea that, I don't ever want to put something on somebody that doesn't feel natural or feels weird. And so they would always let me know if it felt comfortable for them. And that was the most important thing, because when they feel uncomfortable, the audience will feel it, you know, and I'm not trying to force anything on it. And honestly, it just worked out. And I love those girls so much. And, you know, so I'm just glad that we got it done.
Listen, y'all did more than get it done. I'm just saying. And that's nothing. Fun fact before I bounce. I judge a competition here in LA called the Spotlight Awards. And one of the judges with me in non-classical voice was one of the original Sandys in the 1972 stage version of Grease.
Oh, cool.
So in addition to my pink, I actually have a Grease connection. Several.
Yeah, you do.
I love that.
That's amazing.
Yay, snaps and claps. Well, I got to go. I wish I had more time with y'all. I have so many more things to say.
Nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet you. Congratulations. And I'm looking forward to everybody else coming into this version of Grease. It was really wonderfully done.
Thank you so much. So nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you. See you next time. Bye. So again, you guys, check out Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies. It is on Paramount Plus. It is streaming right now. You'll get to hear Justin's music, you'll get to see Jamal's choreography, and you'll get to see the wonderful performances of all the young ladies and the young men that I featured in the interviews here today. Okay? Again, Paramount Plus, Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies. Now, I'm saving the best for last because, you know, I had to do it. So I saw this film at Sundance, and it was called 1001. I talked about it when I came back from Sundance. I'm still talking about it because it encompasses some amazing, amazing performances. Teyana Taylor plays Inez, the mom in the film, and she is just, there aren't enough words or adjectives to describe what she does with this role. It's written and directed by A.V. Rockwell. It is a Focus Features joint. And when I tell you, the film centers around Inez and the fact that her and her son Terry, who is played by three young men. He's played by Aaron Kingsley Adetola at the age 6. He's played by Avon Courtney at age 13 and Josiah Cross at age 17. So Terry was in the foster care system, and both of them reunite, and they set claim to get their own sense of home, identity, and stability in 80s Harlem. When I tell y'all, again, Teyana Taylor is the truth. She is the truth. She is so raw and so real. And I remember at Sundance, one of her children, she has quite a few children, and one of her kids was having a moment. And that girl was like, I don't care that I'm at Sundance. I don't care that it's this big fancy premiere. My child needs me. She is a mother first and an actress and everything else after that, right? And that stuck with me and wasn't lost on me because I witnessed that. And the same strength and tenacity and fierceness as a mama bear that she exuded that I saw in real life, she exudes that in this film. And, you know, the camera don't lie. That's all I'm saying. The camera don't lie. The three young men that I mentioned, Avon, Aaron, and Josiah, they give me Moonlight vibes only because the young men are played in 3 different ages, just like in Moonlight. But all 3 of them are absolutely stellar in their performances, especially Josiah. The scenes that he has with Teyana they will break your heart. And it had me in the ugly cry for real. A.V. Rockwell is writing and directing this film, and she writes it from a woman's point of view, because usually when we see these types of stories that take place in the hood or in Harlem, and you know, it's dealing with foster care or you know, somebody being in and out of jail, it's always from a man's point of view. It's never, ever, ever from a woman's point of view. And I really appreciated having the opportunity to see this from a woman's point of view in cinema, because we never see it. And when I tell you Will Catlett as Lucky is stupendous, he brings so much heart and vulnerability and strength to his character that you can't help but love him in the end. He is a scoundrel, but you can't help but love him in the end. So having said all of that, I had an opportunity to interview Teyana, AV, and Josiah. And I kind of gushed all over Teyana and AV in my interview, and I'm kind of embarrassed about that, but I was just so excited to speak to them. So take a look and a listen to this interview with Teyana Taylor, Inez, A.V. Rockwell, the director and writer of 1001, and Josiah Cross, who plays Terry.
Hi, how are you, darling?
I am wonderful, and it's wonderful to see you. I just need to say this right from the get-go. Teyana, I saw you during the screening at Sundance, and I remember one of your kids was having a moment. Yes. And while everything was going on, you got up and you took that child out, and you did it without hesitation. You like, I don't care that I'm at a premiere at Sundance. I am a mama first, and everything else comes after.
Yes.
So having said that, I want to congratulate you.
Because
you portrayed Inez with such turbulent poignancy.
Thank you.
That could only happen based on what AV wrote and how she directed.
Thank you.
So congratulations to both of you on that.
Thank you so much.
Having said that, I'd like to pose this question to both of you, and I'll let AV start it out. Do you think that Inez was a person whose dreams were on life support, which is why she chose the life that she did?
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think when we find her, she's definitely in a place. She's coming from a place of desperation. You know, she's fighting for her survival, and she's fighting for her place in the world. And I think that that's something that her and Terry can connect on, just wanting to feel secure in their place in the world as mother and child. I think they have so many similarities. Like, her story is his story, you know, and I think she sees so much of herself, unfortunately, in those cycles that so many families can go through, and certainly what this community can go through. And so I think she's fighting to break beyond that, to break cycles, and the experience that they have and the life that she wants to create for him.
Well, I have to agree with everything she was saying, you know. I think, you know, as a mom, as far as, you know, her feeling like her career is on life support. Yeah, it was like, you know, everybody gets to pull the plug but me. You know, it's like, I'm quiet, I can't say anything. So now the power of my life, which is my career, is in the hands of someone else because I can't make my own decision, you know. And I feel like as a mom, she put, you know, everything to the side for Terry, I think. But in that case, love was more important than the dream. You know, I think that love was the bigger dream and the bigger goal. And, you know, getting love in the most purest form was the bigger dream. So I think if you look at it as a whole, she accomplished the bigger goal in life and the bigger dream in life. So at that point, when we get to the end, you kind of see that the ball is in her court, and you know, nobody was able to pull that plug because it's all about timing and patience. So realizing that weight doesn't necessarily mean that you won't pull through, or come off of life support. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it was a fight, and I feel like Inez fought through it, and she was able to kind of like get her life back.
I wish I had so much more time with you guys. I have to wrap, but I want to say this before I go. AV, congratulations on your directorial debut. Girl, you knocked it out of the park. And Teyana, I am looking for this film to go the distance, Mama, because I need to see you get your due. I need to see you get that love that we all have for you when we saw you do this film at Sundance. It was absolutely fantabulous. You guys showed women in a way that we don't normally see. We always see that vantage point from a man's point of view.
Right.
We never see it. Woman.
Amen.
So thank you for that, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Appreciate you.
Peace.
You know, being a black man in this industry is very challenging at times, very nuanced, is very you know, stress inducing, and you know, I had him there for me in such a supportive type of role. You know, like in the movie, in a father figure type of role where I felt safe, I felt comfortable, I felt protected, I felt supported by him. And I feel like in a lot of those moments where he's just like giving me game off screen about stuff that don't got nothing to do with movies at all, you know, by the time we got on screen, I just felt so vulnerable with him, and free to, you know, express ourselves in our form. So.
What was the best piece of advice you got from Will when you guys were on set, just about life in the industry?
Do my taxes right. Yeah.
That, my dear, is some great advice.
Yeah, he was like, He was like, get your shit in order early.
I love that he told you to get your taxes right. That is pure comedy right there.
Outside of the foster care component, Terry was me. I've had a Lucky in my life. And I feel like the dynamic between Inez and Terry is so nuanced and complex, but beautiful, because in a lot of ways, they're not just mother and son, they're best friend, they're brother and sister. They're children together. And just as much as Terry is navigating and trying to figure out what his life is and how it happened and why it happened, Inez is doing the same thing at the same exact time. And I feel like that specifically breeds this closeness that is impenetrable between a mother and a son. Then just getting down to the meat and potatoes of her being a mother and a caretaker and a nurturer, and what that takes when it comes to the thing that she's nurturing is a little Black boy in America. I think that there's like a protectiveness over that. There's a pride in it as well, that who else is going to do it type of attitude, and I feel like that is kind of what speaks to that beautifully profound dynamic between the mother and son in this movie. But me and my mother currently, we've been having this dialogue about our relationship evolving, and I think that's a motif and a theme in this film as well. You have 6-year-old Terry, you have 13-year-old Terry, and then you have 17-year-old Terry.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 different iterations of Terry's life, and then Inez's life as well. So she's a different mother by the time he's 13. She's a different mother by the time he's 17. So the things that, they were doing at 13, and, she's at, 29 or whatever, they can't, and they're not doing them when he's 17. So me and my mother in real life are navigating that kind of awkward, uncomfortable, well, Mom, I'm not 12 anymore. I'm a 25-year-old man living on my own, and still some of the same, nurturing motherly things, that my mom, tries to do. It's like we're evolving. So it's in progress, and, it's a beautiful journey.
I would imagine it would be. I can't wait to hear how your mom interprets it all, and how she's going to be real proud of you when she sees it. I can tell you that right now. Absolutely beaming with pride when she sees you. What do you have coming up next? What can we look for you to be starring in or participating next on screen?
The first show is a World War II epic, produced by Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks. I play an airplane pilot of the 332nd Red Tail group. First half is led by Austin Butler, and then the second half is led, by me. Yeah, shout out to Apple, Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, Cary Fukunaga, Dee Reese, Tim Van Patten. But that is one to look forward to. That should be coming out this summer. Definitely. Also, the end of the year, my other show, Lady in the Lake, Apple TV as well, stars me, Moses Ingram, and Natalie Portman.
I said you stomping with the big dogs. I'm just saying.
Something like that.
You stomping with the big dogs.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to that too. It's a murder mystery. The thing, excuse me, that I love about all these roles is that it just shows my range as an actor, because all of these roles are like night and day. 17-year-old inner city kid from Harlem, and then Masters of the Air, I'm playing a 20-year-old fighter pilot from the 1940s. And then Lady in the Lake, I'm playing a boxer and a mobster in 1960s Baltimore.
Well, Josiah, thank you for taking some time and talking to me today. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I enjoyed your performance immensely in 1001. And I can't wait for these other 2 projects on Apple TV Plus to drop, so I can support you and cheer you on in those as well.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Have a great day.
Again, you guys, the film is called 1001. It's produced by Focus Features. It is in theaters right now. Please, please, please go check it out and support. Another film I want to talk about that's going to drop on April 5th is a film called Air. It is directed and stars Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Viola Davis, her husband Julius Tenen, Jason Bateman, and Chris Messina. And it is only going to be in theaters on April 5th. So this isn't something that's going to be released in tandem via streaming. It basically is a film that gives you the backstory on how Air Jordans became Air Jordans and the deal that was brokered that set a precedent for athletes in the film industry to get a piece of the pie. And that deal was brokered by Michael Jordan's mother, Dolores Jordan. Now, I heard through the grapevine, through some interviews and things that I watched during the week, that Michael Jordan, when he was approached about doing this film, that he had one condition, that Dolores Jordan be played by Viola Davis. And baby, Viola Davis is playing the daggone thing. There's no coincidence that this woman has won multiple awards and is an EGOT winner. She portrays Dolores Jordan she's very stealth, she's very strong, and she's like quiet fire. But it is a beautiful performance. We don't hear from Julius Tenen as much in the film, playing his father, who is playing Michael Jordan's dad, who's now deceased, but his presence is felt nonetheless. And forget about women running the world, baby. A Black woman runs the household, which is why Michael Jordan's dad let his wife do all the talking when it came to that deal, because a mama knows her son and she's going to do whatever is best for her son. And I love the tagline, a shoe is just a shoe until Michael Jordan steps into it. That's all you need to know. A shoe is just a shoe until Michael Jordan steps into it. The performances are great. You know, Chris Messina is just a scene stealer. Him and Matt Damon have a lot of scenes over the phone, and he steals every scene that he's in. There's a lot of times Matt Damon is laughing, and sometimes I don't think that was scripted. I think he's just straight up laughing at Chris Messina. Chris Messina portrays Michael Jordan's agent at the time. All of these people involved in the story at Nike. Oh, and that's the thing. Nike was not a big company. Well, it was a big company, but it was floundering. It was on its way out, and Air Jordans literally saved Nike. So that's the gist of the story. It's very inspiring. It has great performances, like I said, and the throwbacks to the 90s with the music and the costumes and just little, bits and pieces here and there in the production design are really great, along with the insight of how deals were brokered during that time, which, like I said before, has set a precedent moving into the future. All right, so last but not least is Spinning Gold. Spinning Gold is starring Jeremy Jordan. For theater people, you know Jeremy Jordan from Newsies. You know him from Smash, the hit TV series that was on NBC that dealt with Marilyn Monroe being in a musical. Not her being in the musical, but these two girls fighting over the role to play Marilyn Monroe in a musical. I misspoke. This film, Spinning Gold, is written and directed by by Tim Bogart, who is one of Neil Bogart's sons, and is a biopic of Neil Bogart from the 70s, who was the co-founder of Casablanca Records. Now, I said at the beginning of the broadcast that my boss, and I don't think y'all saw that picture because my broadcast was acting funky at the time, but my boss was Sheila Eldridge when I was a publicist, and she was the publicist at Casablanca Records, which I thought it was pure comedy. So having said that, let me put myself back on camera. I thought that was pure comedy. But at any rate, this film is nostalgic. People that lived in the 70s, people that like the disco era, people that like 70s music are totally going to get their groove on with this film. The film is corny. It is. It's corny. It's not groundbreaking. It's not earth shattering, but it's a lot of fun. And you get the backstory or origin stories of some groups that are iconic. Like there's this whole scene where they talk about where Neil Bogart and Gladys Knight are sitting at a piano and they're going through the lyrics of what we now know to be Midnight Train to Georgia, but was called Midnight Train to Houston. Can you even imagine? Gladys Knight was like, I'm from Georgia. Ain't nobody trying to sing about taking a midnight train to Houston. I hollered. Gladys Knight is played by Ledisi. Wiz Khalifa plays George Clinton. And Sam Harris does like a little cameo in the kiss thing, which I didn't know until the end of the movie. I hollered. It was really great. And Tyler Parks plays Donna Summers rather, who was known as LaDonna Gaines at that time. And it's a nice little backstory and there's a backstory on Bill Withers as well. So it's a nice little backstory about these artists whose songs we love, whose songs we know, these artists that we love. And to find out that it was all brokered and it was all brought together magically through the mind and the marketing genius of Neil Bogart. Neil Bogart ushered in the type of marketing that we see done right now in the music industry and the entertainment industry. He should be credited for that. So having said that, take a look and a listen to this interview with Jeremy Jordan, who plays Neil Bogart in Spinning Gold. How excited were you to find out about a time that literally was happening before you were born?
Oh yeah. I mean, my character died before I was born. So
Right?
like it was, it was really exciting. I mean, it's great because this stuff doesn't happen anymore. I mean, 5 seconds into the movie, he would have been canceled. Like, feels like a bygone era where like if you had enough money and you had the charm, you could just go, gamble, smoke, drink. And eventually, if you just kept going, you'd figure out your path. And that's kind of what happened. I mean, he was a visionary in that he saw these artists that were incredibly special, but nobody else was quite there yet. And so he spent his entire career bringing everybody up to his level and getting everyone else to believe in what he already believed in.
Now that you have been immersed in 70s disco, what would you say was like your favorite cut from the soundtrack?
Ooh, that's tough. That is tough. Probably Lettucey. And I got to sit there and watch her do that live every time. She sings Midnight Train to Georgia, and she just has like immaculate perfection vocals. So that was probably my favorite. And then probably when Jason Derulo came in and sang It's Your Thing live on set. And they weren't really going to use it, I don't think. They were just going to use a snippet of it. And they just ended up using the whole thing because it was just so like raw and incredible. And what I loved about it is that they didn't try to like do, some cool revamped pop modern version of it. They really stayed true to the original, but still adding their own sort of voice to it, which was really tasteful.
What was the best piece of advice that you got from the Bogart boys about playing their dad? Because they were very intrinsically involved with this project.
Tim always said the reason that he was drawn to me was because whenever I stepped on screen or in front of an audience, I had this sort of thing that came over me. And the way that I sort of talked to crowds, he's like, as soon as you turn that on, he's like, that's my dad right there. Like it's already in you. And so he always allowed me to encourage me to trust myself. And because he saw so much of his father, or what he could remember of his father in me, I was able to sort of create that character as a sort of, more organically than trying to just mimic or do an impression of somebody that lived a long time ago,
I appreciated it. I really enjoyed you in this role. I think that it probably encompasses every ounce of talent that is within every fiber of your being. I'm serious, dude. You seriously are the most talented person I've ever seen in my entire life. And I would
Carla.
Listen, I'm the Curvy Critic and I call it like I see it, honey. And
well, I appreciate it.
Listen, and coming from Broadway myself, I know a real deal when I see it. And you, my dear, are the real deal.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's very
You're
kind.
welcome. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
All right. And if y'all have ever seen this child perform, you'll know exactly what I mean. So having said all of that, I am so stupid. Having said all of that, I'm going to show this interview with Jay Pharoah, and just a small disclaimer. At the end of it, he makes his comment about Jonathan Majors, but this was before the stuff that happened with Jonathan Majors happened. So, it's not an out of turn joke. It was something that he just said and was trying to be respectful, but whatever. So Jay Farrell plays Cecil Holmes, who is the business partner of Neil Bogart during that time, and him and Jeremy have some intense scenes. So we talk a little bit about that, and we talk about Jay going from comedy to drama, which I thoroughly enjoyed. So take a look and a listen to Jay Farrell.
Hey, what's going on? It look real fluffy over there. Real soft. You got a real soft background back there. It's really plush. I like it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
No
Listen, I am really enjoying watching you step out of your comedy lane into more dramatic roles. And even though this had like a little humor to it, it was still dramatic. That scene between you and Jeremy, where y'all kind of go at it, was fire. I loved that scene so much. And I think it was the best work for both of you. Was it intense for you to do that scene as well?
Yeah, I mean, it was, of course, with you watching the film, you understand that Cecil Holmes cared so much about Neil Bogart. That was his right-hand man. Anything that man wanted to do, he was right there behind him. He backed him, even when it didn't seem like there was going to be any type of sunshine, when it was like straight up rain clouds and thunderstorms. He backed him. But at that moment in that scene where it's like he doesn't have any money, everything, it seems like it's going down. There's no way it looks like they're going to be able to live. That's where he steps up. He's like, yo, if this doesn't go well, then like we're out of here. Like I can't keep following you. So to be in that scene with Jeremy and to bring that energy, it was it was good that it happened when it happened, because we had started working on that film in 2019. We started shooting it then. We didn't finish it until 2021. So
wow.
It was 2 years later, we came back and we finished that. So we had already had, me and Jeremy were all already on this journey together. All of us were, where it was like, we're finishing this film. We're getting to the end of this. And in that scene, it was like, yeah, this is the buildup. All of these years we were trying to film this movie, and we're finally doing this scene together. So it's like, yo, we're going to bring it, and we're going to bring the emotion. And I'm going to bring the emotion by thinking about my best friend just letting me down and me having to pull out of the situation. And that's exactly where I drew that from. And I think Jeremy drew that too. He was just like, listen, I'm still going to do this. And I'm like, look, man, I mean, you can, dog, but I didn't say dog, I didn't say dog. But
listen,
if this screws up, we don't have anything. We don't have anything. So I need you to open your eyes and see that this is a crazy idea. So I think that it came off beautiful.
Y'all did the damn thing. You really did. And I just wanted to commend you on that. I really did. I know that Cecil is still with us. Did you get an opportunity to speak with him at all?
I did not speak to Cecil. I talked to Tim. Cecil was supposed to come to the set a few times, but
it never worked out.
Everything started happening. So I got all of my information talking to Tim Bogart and drawing from that relationship, and then just using personal experiences, because I don't have a lot of people that I call my friend. I don't. A lot of people might be out there and be like, yo, that's my dog. Nah, dog. I got a small circle of people that I rock with, and all the people have places, and it's important to me. So I don't want to lose any of them. So I played Jeremy like he was one of my close friends.
I appreciate that. I do. Now that you've been down that 70s disco lane and world, what's your favorite cut from the soundtrack?
Lettucey's on like Georgia, like that's beautiful. Like she did that. She really did that. So I think Lettucey was a perfect Gladys. I think everybody killed their role. I think she just has a soulness to her. So that Midnight Train to Georgia, that's the best. I think that's the song right there. That is the song right there. Yeah.
It's so funny because both you and Jeremy picked the same two moments. It's hilarious. Y'all are not in the room together, but y'all picked the same two moments. That is hilarious.
We didn't talk about it either. I ain't talked to him. So this is how we really feel. There's no disingenuousness in this at all. Nobody's being spurious. We're telling you the truth. We're telling you the absolute truth right now.
And there was nothing disingenuous about your performance in Spinning Gold either. I really, really enjoyed you. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Yes, of course. Thank you.
Look, hopefully this leads to other biopics because I know they got Jonathan Majors out here about to play 50 people. So I'm like, man, I got to get in there somehow.
I feel you. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate you. That is hilarious. Well, you see, it wasn't that bad. So I just want to recap what I said to watch. And thank you, Jay Pharoah and Jeremy Jordan. You can catch my interviews with Tim Bogart and Tyler Parks on my YouTube channel because of I wasn't able to get to them today. For some reason, I was having major gremlin action happening. But I want you guys to check out 1001. It is in theaters, only in theaters right now. It was the winner, the dramatic winner at Sundance Film Festival. Pretty Baby is streaming via Hulu. Spinning Gold is going to hit theaters and is hitting theaters actually right now. What else do I want y'all to see? Oh yeah, Rise of the Pink Ladies, which is currently streaming on Paramount Plus. And this is Taylor Parks. She's playing Donna Summer in Spinning Gold. This is Jeremy Jordan and Letticy, who played Neil Bogart and Gladys Knight, respectively. And next week, what am I going to come back with? I think I'm going to come back with Mafia Mama. Every week I say I'm going to talk. Every week I'm talking about Mafia Mama, and Mafia Mama ain't nowhere to be seen. But next week is Easter Sunday, so I'm either going to broadcast this on Saturday or Monday. It's probably going to be on Monday, but next week I will be talking about Super Mario Brothers, The Covenant, and I'm going to say Mafia Mama again because I might be talking to Mafia Mama. I'm not sure. But I know Chevalier will be coming up soon, so I know at some point I will be talking about Chevalier and Kevin Harrison Jr. and Samara Weaving. I will be talking to those two lovely people and having those interviews for you. So again, if this is your first time joining me, give me a big thumbs up if you are on YouTube. Click that bell for notifications below. Subscribe to the channel, you guys. Let folks know that you've seen me. Let folks know that I'm here. And yeah, so that is it. I'm so sorry I had some connectivity issues this time. Hopefully next time will be better. And yeah, that's it. So until the next time, have a beautiful Easter Sunday. For those of you who celebrate Passover and the other holidays associated with Easter, I hope you're having some great quality time with your families and that you took some time out to support me. And I appreciate you. I think there was one more. Oh, yes. And the one last message from Brandon. He said, thank you for liking my art, Carla. Art school is going great. I'm so happy to hear that, Brandon. I always support you. You know this. So yeah, that's it, y'all. I'm working on making things better and brighter. I'm going to have some in-person guests for you. And I'm actually going to do some in-person guests, not on screen. We're going to do it live from a location. We're going to do the show live from a location at some point. So I want you to be on the lookout for that as well. All right. So that is it for this edition of the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. Thank you so much for joining me. And wash your hands. Stay safe, baby. And love, peace, and hair grease. Until the next time. Deuces.